The much-anticipated new era of Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari began this week. After familiarizing himself with the facilities and staff at Maranello and Fiorano on Monday, the seven-time world champion got behind the wheel of a prancing horse single-seater for the first time yesterday, covering approximately 90 kilometers in the morning with a Ferrari SF23 on the team-owned track. In the early afternoon, on a wet track and in typical winter weather, it was Charles Leclerc's turn to take the wheel of the car he used 2 seasons ago. The many fans present at Fiorano, the reactions and comments on social media, all reflect the immense anticipation for the new F1 season and this partnership that unites the most decorated driver and the most iconic team in the sport. January is also the period when teams announce the dates for unveiling their new cars. This year, due to the novelty of the collective livery and team presentation organized by F1 in London on February 18th, some teams will delay revealing their cars until Bahrain, where the winter testing session is scheduled from February 26th to 28th. This is the case, for example, with Mercedes, which will unveil the new W16 only in the Middle East. Others, however, will still hold an official presentation, albeit with a livery designed specifically for the occasion, such as Williams, which will reveal the FW47 on February 14th. At the Fiorano circuit, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari write a new chapter in motorsport history. On Wednesday, shortly after 9 in the morning, the 7-time Formula One world champion hit the track of the prancing horse for the first time, officially sealing his union with Ferrari. The view, obscured by banks of fog, mostly distracted and discouraged those present, who were busy eating pastries and chatting to pass the time. More importantly, it blocked the view of the garage door from which Hamilton exited the pits. The roar of the hybrid turbocharged 06612 V6 engine pierced through the fog enveloping Maranello as the Englishman completed his initial laps, warming the hearts of over 1,000 fans gathered on the iconic bridge of the Italian town. Let's delve into the triumphant day of the new Ferrari driver aboard an Italian single-seater. The first historic lap was what we could call a classic in-out, with wet tires used as a precaution on the damp and slippery track. After getting acquainted with the circuit and making initial adjustments to the car, Lewis Hamilton returned to the track with medium tires. In this stint, the British driver completed about 12 laps, progressively increasing his pace as the tire temperature rose. This allowed him to gain more reference points for the track layout. The Brit alternated between push laps and cool-down laps. Only in the final phase of this first run did the 7-time Formula One world champion complete 3 consecutive flying laps with the best recorded time at 59.4 seconds. Before returning to the garage, he performed a practice start, which was not perfect as it was the first attempt, followed by a meeting with the engineers to provide feedback on the handling of the SF23 car. The third stint of the 7-time Formula One world champion began after a 53-minute pit stop. This comprehensive debriefing included, among other things, modifications to the car's base setup based on Lewis Hamilton's precise instructions. The Italian car, bearing the number 44, was equipped with hard tires, which were not ideal for the damp track. After 2 laps, rain arrived to complicate matters. As a result, Lewis Hamilton's lap times were rather slow, with multiple tests focused on the pit lane limiter and hybrid system mappings. The Englishman faced particular traction issues, struggling with significant oversteer and wheel spin during acceleration phases. The former Mercedes champion completed only 3 laps, with unremarkable times exceeding 1 minute and 10 seconds. The fourth stint began at 10:40, still using the white-banded Pirelli tires. Lewis Hamilton completed another 10 laps, bringing the total to about 26. During this run, the pace increased significantly, with the Briton clearly pushing the limits of the Ferrari F1 car. This led to several lockups and a few off-track moments, particularly at Turn 1 and Turn 9, the tightest hairpin on the circuit. Additionally, Lewis Hamilton had the chance to use the drag reduction system on the main straight, testing the system that activates the movable wing to reduce drag. As the laps went on, the former Mercedes driver adapted his driving style. Taking advantage of a progressively drying track, Lewis Hamilton managed to limit and eventually eliminate the bothersome oversteer on exit from the hairpin. This adjustment allowed him to push harder, with lap times dropping significantly, shaving off more than 5 seconds per lap. Before returning to the Fiorano garage, further practice starts were carried out to test the clutch release system. Lewis Hamilton's 5th and final run was much shorter. It consisted of just 3 laps to complete a program of approximately 100 kilometers. The tires used were again hard, and the British driver enjoyed the warmth of the crowd gathered around the track. Thus ended the Briton's first day as a Ferrari driver. After the tests, he made his way to the fans pressed against the fences to greet them. The emotion was undoubtedly significant for Lewis Hamilton as well, in front of a level of support unseen anywhere else in the world. On the other hand, it can be said that for him too, a childhood dream came true. Driving a red car, a Ferrari. One of the many features that sets Ferrari apart from any other car manufacturer is the passion of its fans, recognized worldwide to the point that the Italian term Tifoso is used instead of fan everywhere. The anticipation and attention surrounding Lewis Hamilton's debut at the wheel of a Ferrari, specifically the SF23, could not have been higher, as Formula One regulations permit the use of a car that is at least 24 months older than the current calendar year. In recent days, it had already become clear that proper organization would be needed to manage the turnout, as hotels in Maranello, Modena, and the surrounding areas were fully booked, not just by enthusiasts, but also by numerous professionals from abroad who didn't want to miss the Briton's first outing with the prancing horse on his chest. Despite a few Mercedes emblems and even a truck with an airbrushed cabin featuring images of the Englishman, which crossed the Fiorano bridge twice with dual-tone horns blaring, it's safe to say that the anticipation for one driver did not overshadow the other. Interestingly, chance for Leclerc continued even during moments when Hamilton was in the pits. A striking detail was a prominent image of Charles, styled like a holy card, being waved alongside Ferrari flags and the Italian tricolor, adding to the banners celebrating both drivers. The real Lewis completed his program after 30 laps, and at 12:42, he got into a service car to reach the crowd at the first corner. He was greeted with a second roar as soon as the car door opened. A quick minute and he was off, especially since heavy rain started pouring from the sky, convincing those present that it was time to find something to eat, given the hour. The bridge quickly emptied, leaving only the die-hard fans who, at 1:30 p.m., were rewarded with the first 8 laps of Charles Leclerc's stint. The Monegasque driver took to the track in the SF23 bearing his signature number 16. A twist for those who thought the drivers would also head off for some pasta, so much so that some ran back, scrambling to find a spot to watch. The Monegasque completed a total of 14 laps across 3 driving stints. Charles Leclerc then also rushed to greet and thank the fans, treating them to a couple of donuts at the first and last corners, wrapping up a historic day for Ferrari and an unforgettable experience for those who were not only lucky enough to attend, but also had the will and determination to face weather conditions that truly required a great Ferrari heart.